friends, this is B and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll talk about how I document my fountain pen inks. What you see here are the things that I use. So for the pens, I have the Kakimori nib. Then we also have a Drilog dip pen. So this is in 0.5 millimeter. And then the third one is a Sailor Hokoro dip pen, and the nib size is in 1.0 millimeter. This is in replacement of my Lamy Joy because this is much easier to clean. For the paper, I have the Hobonichi plain notebook. This one is a different design back in 2022 by the designer Yuka Hiragi. So they had a collaboration with Hobonichi, but a plain notebook typically looks like this. So you'll see just this yellow cover. It comes in two sizes, A6 and A5, and it just looks like this. It is segregated into 4 sections. There's the color red, you've got blue, and then there's green, and lastly purple. So you can use these sections for anything or just use it as one. And then we also have the Tsubame ink collection card. This one contains 150 pieces and the GSM size of this paper is 80. And then last but not the least, we also have a Wearingeul Smile Cat ink swatch card. A friend gifted this one to me. This one is 50 pieces only and the GSM size is 200. So the way I would use this would be, this would contain all of my bottled ink, while these two are both for bottled ink as well as for this one specifically together with ink samples. Since this is the latest one that I received, the way I use this is through this one. So currently I have 2 swatches of ink coming from Tasia, and then the other one is Pelikan, and I just use this to do the swatches on this part. And then the writing of the brand of the ink and then the name of the ink is using the Sailor Hokoro dip pen. And then whenever I would ink up a bottled ink, I would just indicate the date. So this was the first one I've used. And then after that, I've used the Pelikan Moonstone. Now for the second one, which is the ink collection card, I did it 2 ways. So for my bottled inks, they all look like this. So it's currently arranged in alphabetical order. And then the way it looks like would be, this one is using the Drilog. This part is using the Sailor, same thing. I have the brand, the name of the ink, the swatch of the ink, and when it was purchased. So pretty much all these ones. And then the other one are for ink samples. So I typically get my ink samples from Stickerific or when I do meetups. So the only one that's different, if you see from here, is that the other box is filled. So S stands for sample. And then I have another one here. C stands for cartridge. So if ever I will use just cartridge, I'll use a syringe and then get the ink from there and do the swatch. Now for the Hobonichi notebook, this one I call this as an Inkdex journal. So the number of inks that I can put in here with the setup that I've done would be a total of 38. I currently have 37 slots and then there's one missing. So I have this one here. So the way I would set up is I would allocate 3 pages per ink. So the first page has this format and I use a Midori paintable stamp just to put in here. And then the next 2 pages are blank. And to give you an idea how that looks like, so we have a sample here from Mont Blanc. So I would do a brand of the ink, the title of the ink, a little bit of swatch, curve in here, and then I would indicate the date, the price, and the size, and a little bit something about that ink. So for the second page, I will do a huge swatch of the ink. So that would be using this one, and then you'll see there's a little bit of crinkling at the side. So if I actually close the notebook, you'll see that. And then the reason why I do this part, which is obviously you're gonna experience bleed through at the back, in order for this not to cross over to the other side, I just use any cardboard lying around and then do it like this. And then what I'm looking for is what the ink looks like once it dries, because sometimes there are certain inks that when you use them, it looks different. I do have a perfect example of that, which is the Ferris wheel press in Madame Mulberry. Let me flip to that page. So it looks like this. So on initial swatching, there's actually more green and with a little bit of purple, but as you can see, once it's dried, it actually becomes more muted gray. And then obviously at the back there's a bit of a bleed through. And then the way I format it, since I did say at the beginning that you can, with the format that I lay out, first page here would be like 12 inks, followed by 13 and another 13, and then I just have like a divider. So I did it like this. So the inks are actually arranged according to acquisition. So the very first ink that I own is actually a Lamy Azurite, which looks like this. And then if I'm going to compare that to my Subami ink card, it looks like this one. So this is the one that I would typically use, since this is the closest that I can find in terms of comparison, since I mainly use Tomoe River paper coming from Hobonichi. So these are like closest match, and I'm letting you see it like this one because for this particular ink, I've already finished the bottle. I actually kept the bottle so that it'll serve like some sort of motivation to continue using other bottled inks and finish them. So this is the first ink that I purchased back in 2019, and I finished this in 2023 despite of using ballpoints and other inks. So it took a while for that. And then the way I would compare inks, the way it's set up like this, is because if I'm gonna move it like this to that, and then the third one would be like this. So I could actually just put like a paper clip here and then do a quick comparison. Now in terms of the inks that I own, they're only either purple or gray inks. So these are the ones, these are all bottled inks. So I only have one spot left. Now for the next ones that you'll see will be a flip through of all of the inks with its swatches. there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks again for watching. See you on the next one.